Hello students, welcome to this lecture on digital communication. In this lecture, we'll discuss random variables. Now before we proceed to random variables, we should first discuss about random experiment. So if we perform an experiment and we are uncertain about the outcome of the experiment, we will categorize it as random experiment. So in case of a random experiment, we are not sure about the outcome of the experiment, and we can take an example about this. If I roll a dice, I am sure that I'll get a number ranging from 1 to 6, but I cannot predict the outcome of the experiment. So this is an example of a random experiment. We can consider another example also. If we toss a coin, we'll get a head or a tail, but in this case also we cannot predict what will be the outcome of our experiment. So these are examples of random experiments. So in case of random experiment, we are always uncertain about the outcome of the experiment in spite of knowing the fact that the outcome will always be one of the possible values from a given set. Like if I roll a dice, I know that the outcome will be a number from 1 to 6 only, and if I toss a coin, I'll know that the outcome will be head or a tail only. So I know the sample values that the outcome can take, but I am not certain about the exact result of the experiment. So these all experiments are categorized as, these all come under the category of random experiment. Now if I consider an outcome of any experiment, it can be in form of a real numbers, or it cannot, it is not necessary that the outcome will be a real number only. Like example, if I roll a dice, the outcome will be a real number from 1 to 6, but if I toss a coin, the outcome will be a head or a tail. So in this case, the outcome is not a real number. So when I wish to analyze these experiments from mathematical point of view, it will create a difficulty for me to analyze these experiments because the results are not in forms of real numbers. So random variables provide me a mechanism. Random variables will help me to assign real numbers to outcome of these experiments. So random variables are used to assign real numbers to outcome of an experiment, and the experiment in this case will be an experiment whose outcome will not be of numerical form. So the outcome is not in numerical form, so I need to convert that outcome or that sample point into a real number so that it makes my analysis easier. Now random variable will map every sample point into a real number. So in case of random experiment, we have a set of sample values that the outcome of experiment will take. So every sample point will have to correspond to a real number. So random variable will map every possible sample point into a real number, and we denote a random variable by using Roman X or a capital X. So if I write capital X, it is understood that I am talking about a random variable only. Now random variable can take any value from the sample space available. In case of rolling of a dice, it can take any value from 1 to 6. In case of a tossing of a coin, it can take any value from head or a tail, but I will map the outcomes of head or tail into corresponding real numbers. I can use any function for that, and that we'll study later. If I write capital P subscript X and in brackets X subscript I, it will denote the probability that the random variable capital X takes value equal to Xi. So if I write an expression like this, it will denote that the probability of random variable X taking the value equal to Xi. Let us consider an example to make things more clear. Now in this case, we are considering an experiment of tossing a coin twice. Now if I toss a coin twice, the possible sample points will be HH, HT, TH and TT. So in this case, if I toss a coin twice, I'll get 4 sample points. Now here H stands for head and T stands for tail. So I am using a random variable capital X, and this random variable will denote the number of heads in the outcome. So if I consider the first sample point HH, in this sample point I am having 2 heads, so the value of capital X will be equal to 2. Now second sample point is HT. In this case, H is 1, head number of heads I have obtained is 1, so X will take the value 1. Next sample point is TH. In this case, the number of heads is 1, so X will take the value 1. and the last sample point is tt. In this case the number of heads is 0, so x will take the value 0. So the possible values capital X or the random variable X can take are 0, 1 and 2, because I am mapping these 4 sample points using this random variable X, and here X is denoting the number of heads in my sample points. Okay, so now if I write P capital X xi, it will denote the probability that a random variable takes a value equal to xi. Now in this case the possible values for this random variable are 0, 1 and 2. So in case of instead of xi I can write 0, 1 or 2, because these are the 3 possible values that my random variable capital X will take. Now in first expression if I write Px of 0, it will denote that the probability of random variable X taking the value 0. Now out of the 4 sample points available, X is 0 means in the outcome the number of heads is 0. So out of the 4 sample points, only one outcome is present in which the number of heads is 0. So the probability will be 1 by 4, because only one sample point is resulting in number of heads and 0, and the total possible sample points are 4. So the probability will be 1 by 4. Now next is Px of 1. It denotes the probability that X takes the value 1, that is the number of heads in outcome of my experiment are 1. So there is a mistake in this. Px of 1 will denote the probability that X takes the value 1. So number of heads in outcome of experiment are 1. Now out of the 4 sample points that we have studied, only 2 outcomes result in number of heads equal to 1. So the probability in this case will be 1 by 2. Now next is Px of 2. It will denote the probability of random variable X taking the value 2. So out of the 4 sample points available, only one sample point is satisfying this condition. So the probability will be 1 by 4 in this case. Now let us move to discrete random variables. So the random variable which we have studied in the previous experiment, it was taking values 0, 1 or 2. So there were only 3 set of possible values that the random variables X could take. So when a random variable is there and it is taking only a set of finite values, it is termed as discrete random variable. Now when the sample space of an experiment consists of discrete values, that is finite number of sample points, the random variable will come under the category of discrete random variables, because this random variable will take only one of the possible values that are available, and that will be finite number. So example of this case is in this case is rolling a dice. In case of rolling a dice, number of outcomes is also a finite number. Tossing a coin, finite number of times, outcome will be a finite number. If I toss a coin twice, the sample points will be 4. If I toss a coin thrice, the sample points will be 8. So in case of if I toss a coin finite number of times, I am sure that the number of sample points will also be a finite number. Now in case of discrete random variables, sum of all possible probabilities of an experiment will always be equal to 1. The maximum value of probability is always equal to 1. So if I sum up all the possible values that are taken up by my random variable, it will always turn out to be 1. So I can write it as summation of P capital X taking the values xi, it will always be equal to 1. So in case of tossing of a coin twice, xi will be 0, 1 and 2, and you can see from the experiment that the sum of all the probabilities will come out to be 1. In case of I have written that thing. In case of a tossing a coin, sample space will be this HH, TH, HT and TT, and if X denotes number of heads, the probabilities of all the possible values of X will be turn out to be 1. Now next is continuous random variable. Now in the previous experiment, the random variable was having finite number of values, but if we suppose we measure the temperature of a room, so in this case the random variables will not take finite values, it will take infinite number of values. For a fixed interval of time, it will take infinite number of values. Now if I say I am talking about room temperature, the temperature will be between 20 to 30 degrees Celsius, but it will take a possible infinite number of values between 20 to 30 degree. So the range is fixed, but the number of values that can be taken by the temperature are not fixed. So this random variable will be a continuous random variable because I have a lot of values that can be attained by the random variable. Okay, so if a random variable can possess infinite number of values, it is termed as continuous random variable. However, continuous random variable can take values only in a certain range. Sample space in such case of such experiment consists of a large number of values. For example, if I measure a temperature of a room, it will consist of a large number of values. So we will categorize this as a continuous random variable. Now in case of discrete random variables, we were using summation. Now when we come to continuous random variable, the summation is being replaced by integration, and if I integrate all the possible values of probabilities that capital X is taking the values xi, it will turn out to be 1. However, xi, the values that are being taken by the random variables will be infinite, so I will have to integrate all the values. Instead of summation, I will have to integrate, because xi, the range, the differences between all possible values of xi will be very small, because xi will have infinite number of values. So I have to integrate. Instead of summation, I will use integration here, and the integration will turn out to be 1 in this case of continuous random variable. Now coming to probability mass distribution. Now this is used in case of a discrete random variable. In this case, what we'll do, we will list all the possible values that are being taken by our discrete random variable. So in our experiment, the possible values that were being taken by our discrete random variable were 0, 1 and 2. So I will plot a graph. I'll list the values that are being taken by capital X. So I am writing 0, 1 and 2. When random variable is taking value 0, the probability is 1 by 4. So I'll plot that point. When random variable is taking value 1, the probability is 1 by 2. And when the random variable is taking 2, the probability is 1 by 4. So probability mass distribution is plotting all the possible probabilities along with their values. So if I talk about the random variable X, I am plotting all the values that are being taken by random variable X along with their probabilities. So this will result in probability mass distribution of this random variable. So probability mass distribution is always used in case of discrete random variables only, because we can calculate the probabilities for every value in case of discrete random variable only. In case of continuous random variable, these set of values that are being taken by the random variable are infinite, so we cannot find the probability of every individual point. We can do this only in case of a discrete random variable. So that is all for this lecture. We will continue the topic in next lecture. Thank you.